Today in the United States, politics is being shaped by pressure on institutions, heated debates over immigration and the economy, rising global tensions, and early moves that could define the next election cycle. On this episode of U.S. Politics Explained, we're breaking down the biggest political developments unfolding across America right now. What's happening? Why it matters? And what could come next? Let's begin. One, pressure on American institutions. One of the most noticeable trends in U.S. politics today is growing tension around America's major institutions, from federal agencies to the justice system and regulatory bodies. Supporters of stronger oversight argue that accountability is long overdue, especially for powerful institutions that shape the economy, elections, and national security. Critics, however, warn that increasing political pressure could weaken public trust and blur the line between independent governance and partisan influence. This debate matters because institutions like federal courts, economic regulators, and law enforcement agencies are designed to operate beyond day-to-day politics. When confidence in these institutions drops, it doesn't just affect Washington. It affects markets, public trust, and how Americans view democracy itself. Right now, both parties are signaling that institutional reform will be a major political issue moving forward. 2. The economy and cost of living. For most Americans, the economy remains the most personal political issue. While official indicators show signs of stabilization in inflation and employment, many households say everyday expenses still feel high, especially housing, healthcare, food, and transportation. Lawmakers are divided on what should happen next. Some argue the focus should be on protecting economic growth and avoiding policies that could slow hiring or investment. Others say stronger consumer protections and targeted government action are needed to ease pressure on working families. This disagreement is shaping legislation in Congress and influencing how political leaders talk to voters. As election season approaches, expect economic messaging to intensify, because no issue affects daily life more directly than money. 3. Immigration and border policy. Immigration remains one of the most divisive and emotionally charged topics in American politics. Federal and state governments continue to clash over enforcement, humanitarian responsibilities, and the limits of executive power. Supporters of stricter enforcement argue that border security is essential for public safety and national sovereignty. Critics say current approaches are too aggressive and fail to address the root causes of migration. Legal challenges, protests, and policy shifts have kept immigration in the headlines. And it's clear this issue isn't going away anytime soon. For voters, immigration often represents broader concerns about identity, economic opportunity, and fairness, making it a powerful political symbol far beyond policy details. 4. Foreign policy and global pressure. Beyond U.S. borders, American foreign policy is under growing scrutiny. From international conflicts to diplomatic standoffs and global security commitments, decisions made in Washington continue to shape America's role on the world stage. Some lawmakers argue the U.S. must project strength and protect its strategic interests, even if that leads to confrontation. Others urge restraint, warning that aggressive actions can escalate tensions and draw the country into costly conflicts. These debates don't just affect foreign relations, they influence defense spending, energy markets, and America's global reputation. As global instability continues, foreign policy is becoming an increasingly important issue for voters who once focused mostly on domestic concerns. 5. The justice system and political accountability. Another major theme in today's political climate is accountability, particularly involving elected officials and high-profile figures. Supporters argue that no one should be above the law, regardless of position or influence. Critics counter that legal actions can be politicized, potentially undermining fairness and due process. These tensions have fueled intense public debate and media coverage, reinforcing a broader question facing the country. How should justice operate in a deeply polarized political environment? How this question is answered may shape public trust for years to come. 6 early moves toward the next election. Even though the next major elections are still ahead, political strategy is already underway. Campaign messaging is taking shape. Fundraising efforts are accelerating. Lawmakers are positioning themselves on key issues that resonate with voters. Both major parties see the upcoming cycle as critical, not just for control of government, but for the direction of the country itself. Expect sharper rhetoric, clearer policy contrasts, and increased attention to swing voters as political momentum builds. 7. Why this moment matters. Taken together, today's political developments point to a country navigating change, uncertainty, and high stakes. The decisions being made now on the economy, immigration, institutions, and global leadership will shape America's future long after the headlines fade. Understanding these issues clearly is more important than ever. That's today's breakdown of what's really happening in U.S. politics. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for clear, fact-focused political updates. Thanks for watching U.S. Politics Explained. We'll see you in the next one.